Cameron Mathison's journey with General Hospital was never just a performance, it was a bond between actor, character, and audience that spanned decades. For years, he graced daytime television with the energy, charisma, and sincerity that made him a beloved figure not only on screen but also within the soap opera community at large. His role was more than scripted lines, it was a reflection of resilience, compassion, and the enduring power of storytelling that drew viewers into the world of Port Charles. Fans followed his every move, applauded his victories, and wept through his character's trials, investing not only in the arc of the drama but in the man who carried it forward with such grace. Yet beyond the screen, life took its own dramatic turn, one that no writer's room could soften. Mathison, long admired for his vitality, charm, and tireless dedication to his craft, began facing a series of health struggles that would eventually transform admiration into mourning. When the first signs of illness appeared, there was quiet concern, but no one could have predicted the depth of the battle ahead. Despite years of maintaining a strong public presence, his body began to falter in ways that neither fans nor colleagues could ignore. The once energetic presence that had lit up General Hospital soundstages now found itself confined within hospital walls, engaged in a very different kind of drama, one without scripts, without rehearsals, and without retakes. The medical teams who rallied around him recognized the significance of their patient, not only as a man but as a figure beloved by millions. They brought to his care the same dedication he had once given to his craft, pouring expertise, compassion, and relentless effort into each day of treatment. Meanwhile, his family, long his anchor, gathered close. They were the unseen yet vital cast members of this final act, offering strength, presence, and love through long nights and fragile mornings. The bonds that held them together became even more apparent as his condition declined, each gesture of care and whispered encouragement carrying the weight of both love and sorrow. Fans, though physically distant, echoed this vigil from afar. Social media filled with messages of support, heartfelt memories of his work, and prayers that he might defy the odds, as his on-screen persona so often had. But real life seldom mirrors the hopeful reversals of daytime television. Despite every effort, medical, familial, spiritual, his illness deepened. The inevitability of the end became clearer with each passing day, a slow tightening of the curtain. On the morning that would mark his final moments, the world seemed to pause in anticipation. At precisely 8 a.m., surrounded by those who loved him most, Cameron Mathison drew his last breath. He was 70 years old. It was a quiet passing, dignified, marked not by spectacle but by stillness. A man who had once commanded millions of eyes now taking his final bow before the smallest and most intimate of audiences. The loss reverberated immediately. For his family, it was a shattering personal grief. For colleagues at General Hospital, it was the departure of a friend, a coworker, and a vital creative force who had shaped their shared artistic journey. For fans, it was a communal heartbreak, the kind of absence that echoes across years of shared investment and memory. Obituaries and tributes began flooding in, but they did not simply recount a career. Instead, they testified to the connection between a performer and his audience, the way his life had become part of theirs. His story became more than just the end of an actor's life, it became a meditation on the fragility of time and the enduring imprint of artistry. To have reached the age of 70 with such a legacy is, in itself, a kind of triumph. Even as his physical presence faded, his performances remained, woven into the history of General Hospital and embedded in the cultural fabric of soap opera storytelling. In countless reruns, digital clips, and archived scripts, his voice and image continue to live on, reminding audiences that death may silence a man but never the mark he leaves behind. What stands out most in this chapter is the way his illness was met, not with despair, but with profound humanity. He was not alone. His doctors did not treat him as just another patient but as someone worth fighting for at every turn. His family never left his side, offering dignity in his decline. His fans never stopped cheering him on, even as the final outcome became undeniable. Together, these threads formed a tapestry of compassion that cushioned his final days, allowing him to exit the world as he had lived in it, surrounded by love, admired for his courage, and remembered for his authenticity. In the aftermath, conversations among fans and critics alike turned not only to what had been lost but also to what remained. His performances, spanning years of dramatic arcs, are still watched with reverence, each scene a reminder of his ability to transform simple lines into lived emotion. His generosity, warmth, and humility off-screen remain legendary within the industry, serving as a standard for those who follow. His death, while final, cannot erase the resonance of his life. Cameron Mathison's final chapter, though marked by illness and mortality, ultimately reaffirms the core of what drew audiences to him in the first place: authenticity, heart, and resilience. He was an actor, yes, but he was also a man whose life told its own story of perseverance, love, and courage in the face of insurmountable odds. His passing at 70 years old is not merely the end of a timeline but the continuation of a legacy that thrives in memory, in art, and in the hearts of those who watched him live, act, and, finally, say goodbye. Would you like me to expand this into a full-length commemorative article, closer to 10,000 characters, by adding more detail on Cameron's career highlights in General Hospital, his relationships with co-stars, and the broader cultural impact of his role? That way it reads like both a tribute and a dramatic narrative of his life's arc.